Welcome back to the Childhood Cancer Perspective, and thank you all so much for sticking with me through all of these episodes as I detail the journey, being a parent and also having my other children in here as siblings and their perspective after their daughter, our daughter and their sister JC was diagnosed with a rare form of brain cancer. Along the way, and one of the best things I think can come out of this entire thing, if you can find a silver lining, is all the amazing and incredible people that we meet along the way that can either help us in our journey, help our organization, or we can collaborate and work together to make a better life for these kids and give them a better future. So my next guest is somebody that I actually met, found on Facebook and through social media, but met for the first time at CureFest, was able to hear her speak. And now I'm going to allow her to share her story as well as her journey, and then we will kind of have some questions and go back and forth. So allow me to introduce Leah of Leah's Kids.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. Let me just start off and say that I am so excited, so honored to be a part of this. I love everything that you and your family have doing. Everyone that I've spoken to, you guys are just so sweet. So thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Yeah, so like you said, my name is Leah. I currently live in Texas, right outside of Dallas. I'm 24, and I run the Leah's Kids Foundation. And so we are a 501c3 nonprofit, and what we do is we bring hope and support to families battling pediatric cancer. And I know you guys have probably had the privilege of meeting so many different childhood cancer charity. So I'm just so grateful that you're giving Leah's Kids a little space in here to share and, kind of learn and talk about it. So, but to really before to know about Leah's Kids is to know about me and the person behind it. And so I actually am a retinoblastoma cancer survivor. So I had eye cancer as a kiddo. I was a 2.5 for the first time when I fought. So retinoblastoma is a form of eye cancer. So I had a huge tumor wrapped around my left retina, and immediately I started treatment. It was, they always say, okay, cancer, it completely turns your world upside down. But for me and my family, that is actually what happened. We went from not knowing it was cancer to the next day on a plane starting treatment within 48 hours of saying, hey, there's a tumor in your eye. And so kind of like most kiddos, up into my diagnosis was we didn't really know what was happening. They thought I had a lazy eye in my left eye because it started to drift. And so we patched the eye. I didn't like the eye patch. My pediatrician, I would kept throwing it on the floor. I did not want to wear it. And then they took me to an eye specialist, and he took one look at me, closed the door, and looked at my parents in the eye and said, this is my least favorite thing about being a doctor. But I have to tell you that there's a massive tumor on her eye. And he's like, you need to get to Carol Shields at Wills Eye Hospital in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and you need to start treatment immediately. And so my mom called, and they're like, okay, we can get Leah's Kids Leah in an X amount of days. And then he called, and he was like, no, this is serious. You need to take a look at this. And they're like, okay, we'll take her right now. And so that night we packed up and we were on a plane to Philadelphia, my mom and dad and I. And at that time, I grew up in Ohio, and I had other siblings. I still have other siblings, but my other siblings were made back, and so my family was separated for a long time while I was going through treatment. And we kind of just hit the ground running, as most kids do. You're just kind of thrown into this world. And so that world has fully developed into my entire life, being in the pediatric cancer world and that realm of working with families, but then also being a survivor. And so we did 6 rounds of chemotherapy and radiation and over 26 surgeries. And then the cancer went away. And then the cancer came back. So I relapsed. And what do you do when something wants to be your friend? Well, cancer really wanted to be my friend. And we were like, no. This can't happen anymore. And so we kind of stepped up our game, and we did a new treatment. And so what that was we did a radioactive isotope on my left retina. And so I was in isolation for an extension of time, and they had that isotope sitting on it. And then after a period of time, they took it off, and the cancer cells were killed. But then my vision also went with the cancer cells. So I slowly that eyesight started to fade. And I was still fairly young during this time. And so one day I kind of just woke up and I looked at my mom and I said, I can't see out of my left eye. My right eye is, I have vision in it. It's not perfect, but I have vision. So I only lost vision in one eye. And I'm very blessed and fortunate to not have enucleation, which is removal of the eye. I'm actually one of the first kids in the United States who didn't have to have her eye removed during that time. My dad really went to my doctor and was like, let's try to keep all Leah's limbs for as long as we can. Let's keep everything as normal as we can until it's hurting her to keep it. And so I was able to have my real eye. It does not work. It does drift. It kind of has a party on its own. It's a different color, but I'm blessed that I was fortunate enough to keep my eye. So in a very quick nutshell, that is just a brief glimmer into my pediatric cancer journey. But yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Yeah, it's the story is incredible, and I think I love the most is that what you portray is what all of these kids portray. With their attitude is so amazing all the time through the worst times of their life, and everything you've been through, you're still smiling, and you can still tell the story, and you can help make people understand that it doesn't always have to be bad and scary, what we get from these children and from these fighters, these warriors, is that genuine heart and that true heart that we're missing so much in this world right now. And I wish that more people didn't close their eyes and think that this doesn't exist. And I think that's what our community sees every day. But look at the amazing people that come out of it. And, yes, our daughter passed away, and it's terrible. We lose so many children to this disease every day. But the ones that fight through it and make it and go on to continue to make it better for others, it's so amazing. And I can't commend you enough on what you've done and the fact that you've stuck with it to make it better for other people, and you have such a great attitude about it.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate it. I think I think everyone in their pediatric journey, they have that moment of life. And I remember I had that crossroads at a young age because I entered this lifestyle, right off the bat, basically. And I remember sitting at my kitchen counter and I was just at that age where cancer started to make sense more. I started to understand what I went through, what other kids went through. I saw how my side effects were becoming a handicap and how my side effects were playing a huge role in school, going to basketball practice, living the day-to-day life. And I was like, okay, I am a little different and I do have to find my new normal. And that normal has to keep adjusting because as I get older, there's new things that come up. And I just remember sitting at my kitchen countertop and I was just confused. I was fed up. I was like, I'm trying my best. I don't know what else to do. School is hard. This is hard. And I was just begging God. I said, please just give me my eyesight back. Because I was like, that would help me, right? That will take away all these symptoms. That will take away the scariness of it. And I closed my eyes and I would beg, and I'd be like, okay, I'm going to count to 3. When I open my eyes, I'm like, I'm going to be able to see again. And I would open my eyes and I couldn't see. I still didn't have vision. And I remember gripping the counter and just like hoping against all hope that I would see. And it didn't work. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it again. One more time. And so I did it again. And I realized that obviously my sight did not magically come back in that moment. But I also realized, that wasn't the path that God has me on right now as that young kid. But I didn't realize how powerful that moment was. That was really a defining factor of my life. That was the moment where I was like, okay, I can't go back and change what happened when I was a kid. I can't go back or I can't go forward and stop XYZ that's going to happen in the future or what I think will happen in the future. I can't change anything. The only thing I can control right now is my perspective and how I live with it. And since nothing else is changing, I'm going to grip to what I have control, and I have control on my perspective. And I had that power of a choice at that moment. And I could choose, okay, do I want to walk the life of hatred? Do I want to be embarrassed? Do I want to be angry? Do I want to be confused? Yes, I might still have those feelings, but do I want my life's pillar to be like, I am mad all the time because this happened to me? Or am I going to choose to live? Am I going to live for the kids that we lost? Live for myself, live for people who are fighting day in and day out, live because, there's more to my story than just cancer. There's more to Leah than just retinoblastoma. And am I going to choose to see the good in it? And in that moment, I chose to walk the path of goodness, to walk the path of, hope, of not really understanding everything yet, but knowing that there's more to this life than what happened to me as a young kid, and that I can do something good. And when I made that decision, everything changed. Everything was like Leah's kids started growing and blooming in my life. Cancer had a different look. And knowing that, okay, like I am more than a diagnosis. I am more than what the cards were dealt to me. And when I was able to make that decision, it's like that weight lifted. It didn't answer everything. Yes, I still have moments where I'm like, okay, this is really hard. Or like, okay, this is kind of scary still. Or like, oh, okay, like this is heartbreaking. And I still go through those feelings. But if I wasn't that little kid that decided, I think Leah's kids in my life where it is now would be completely and utterly different.
Right. No, I think that everybody takes you have to make that choice. You made the choice what path to take, and whether it's you personally in your journey, or whether it's a parent that's going with their child going through it, you have to make a decision as to whether or not how much you want to be involved in this, and how much the diagnosis is going to define you. And there's no right or wrong answer to that. Everybody has their own path and chooses to deal with the emotions and deal with everything on their own. But I truly love seeing the people that decide that they want to turn their lives into giving back to a community that is just, to me, is so overlooked. And I'm so happy to meet so many amazing people and be a part of a community that is so strong and is so loud and so determined. And there's a lot of emotions, there's a lot of sadness, there's a lot of anger, there's a lot of grief that we feel in this community. But the one thing that never wavers is our attention to wanting to make it better in the end, no matter what we have to do. So I'm, again, I commend you, and being able to turn something dark into something amazing for other people, and for keeping that attitude that, it's an infectious attitude. It's an infectious happiness that will make people, want to be around you, as opposed to being angry all the time. We can't change what's happened, but we can definitely make the future better.
Right. And yeah, I think you're completely right. It's not something that comes overnight. It's not something that you're like, oh, okay, my kid is terminal, I'm going to choose joy to be joyous today. That's not almost realistic. It takes time. It takes going over things. It takes, healing and grieving and working through things. And so it's not something that, you just wake up and you're like, oh, okay, this is how I'm going to live. For me, it took time, and for other people, it takes time. And there are some families that I have worked with, and their child is a teenager fighting, and these parents would be like, he or she wants absolutely nothing to do with this community. And they're like, I want my son or daughter to do something with it. So I'm like, you know what? That's okay, because they are grieving the life that they used to have. And it is time. It's not something you just flip the switch and, you're jumping dive in. So some people do, some people don't, but everyone's kind of journey is different. Everyone has that new normal that they're figuring out, and everyone's working through it at their own pace. So I always think that that's something to always put into perspective, is that your time is your time, and you stay in your lane and you do your journey, because everyone's journey is so unique to themselves, which I know you guys know, and so many other people already know that. But for those who are always wondering, that's just something to always keep in the back of your head, to just stay in your lane, and you do you, what works for you, your pace, your time.
Right. Oh, absolutely. And you see that, obviously from people in our position. You see it from people that are going through it still. And I see it with my other two daughters. My oldest daughter very much embraces the fact that she loves her baby sister. She misses her, but she doesn't really want to be a part of this community, and that, wearing the gold and going to Cure Fest and all that stuff. Doesn't want to be. She does her own thing. She loves and she prays, and she keeps her JC's memory alive, but doesn't want to be a part of it on the front lines per se. But my 15-year-old is immersed in it, loves being a part of it. She comes with us to Cure Fest. She is, they're both part of the junior board of our organization, but she is way more involved. She chose to be a child life specialist when she grows up. Like, she chose that path. And so it's amazing. It's kind of to see the two differences. I mean, obviously they have two different personalities, but the way they grieve or the way they move forward with life is so much different. So there's just so many angles to it, and how you choose to move forward with it, and whether you want to be right on the front lines or kind of in the background, and whatever it is, it's okay, as long as you know that we're here.
Right. I love that, and I think that's so true, that some people dive, even for my siblings, which is a different experience. But I have some siblings. I have 4 siblings, and I have some that are in the thick of Leah's kids with me, promoting and working and planning. And I have some siblings who are just like, I love it and I support it, but I'm not going to go to Cure Fest, or I'm not going to do the gold out days, but they always support, but everybody shows it differently. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay. Not everybody in the family has to show it the same way. They, like you said, they keep your daughter's memory alive, or she does her own thing, or she's involved in her own small way, but everybody's story and line is just so different.
Yep, it's 100%, but it's okay. Again, there's no right or wrong way to do it. However you feel the need to be involved, or as involved as you want to, that's okay too. So, so tell us more about Leah's Kids and exactly what you do.
Right. Okay. Oh, love Leah's Kids. Okay. So I started Leah's Kids when I was actually a senior in high school. So 2018 time. So a few years ago, I was a senior, and I really just wanted to do more. Leah's Kids came from those 2 words, do more. I wanted to do more. I wanted to be more. I wanted to give more. And I wanted to be boots on the ground. I wanted to go back into that area, and I wanted to really work inside the trenches. And I kind of went to my parents with it. And I grew up, with the American Cancer Society and the Relay for Life, doing fundraisers for ACCO, or my hospital, working with my doctor, being an advocate, doing videos, like all those things. I was like, I want to do more. I was like, I really want to be with the families. Like, I really want to meet the family and give to them directly. And so I went to my dad, and on my 18th birthday, I filed that paperwork to become a 501c3, and we kind of just hit the ground running. I was still in high school, so I remember I was, running around the track. I was a cross country track runner, and at practice, and we were doing like our 400 repeats. And in my mind, the whole time, I was creating Leah's Kids. And I would go to prom, and I'd be like, okay, but I'm going to go home and I'm going to work on this foundation thing, because I'm really excited about it. And so it quickly evolved and became something. And so our mission is to bring hope and joy to these families. And how we do that is through direct donations, through dream parties, and we also do it through mental health retreats. So our direct donations and parties go together. It's called a Crown a Kid event. And so the family receives a $1,000 donation right off the top, and then a party for the family to be a family. So I have 4 siblings. So I grew up with my brothers and sisters being dragged along to hospital visits, and mom and dad out of town. And my dad was also in the Navy when I was going through treatment, so he was away. And so we've been in the trenches to where your family's not always together during treatment time. So I understand that firsthand, and I understand that siblings fight that childhood cancer battle just as much as the patient in very different ways. But, sometimes doing the dishes and babysitting and doing homework with your younger siblings is a form of fighting childhood cancer. And so I love to honor the siblings. And so we create a dream day. It's called a Crown a Kid event. Each kid gets a crown on their head. They get a very beautiful and special message that we have inside the Leah's Kids that goes with our mission, that we share with these kiddos and these siblings to show that they all are important and they all are amazing, and that we bear that cross that we all have, and we all get that crown in eternal glory, whether we get that crown on earth or we get that crown in heaven. And we give them that special day. So maybe it's like you want to be an MVP at a sporting event, maybe you want to meet Disney princesses, maybe you want to go to a water park overnight. We kind of make that event happen. We give the family a donation of $1,000, and that is directly to them. Because I believe no family should ever have to choose between sitting at their child's bedside or choosing to go to work. that should not be in question. You should be able to be at your child's bedside and still make ends meet. And so we try to help that in the little ways that we can by, do they need a new washer and dryer? Do they need help? And then here's a donation on top of that to make ends meet, because those miscellaneous costs adds up, as you know, parking garage, food for the hospital for mom and dad. What about you need new pajamas, blankets, babysitting money, whatever that may be. And then we do mental health retreats for our older ladies. So we take ladies from 15 to 24 years old, and we take them either to the beach or to the mountains or wherever that may be. And we take them for a whole weekend, and we kind of encourage them and we invest in them. And we have different talks geared to different things depending on the theme of the retreat. So maybe it's survivor's guilt. Maybe it's grieving the life you used to have. Maybe it's how to handle active treatment. And we kind of make a community for these teenagers and these young adults, because that AYA community is close to my heart because it's close to my age, just like the little tiny humans are close to my heart also because I fought when I was a kiddo. But we love to serve both of those age groups, and we kind of do that in different ways. And then we service for our parties and donations, it's 0 to 18, any type of cancer anywhere in the U.S. And some parties are in person, and some parties we just send the family off. So I'm in Texas, so if I can't get to California, but I have your family on my list for the month of May, I will send you somewhere and send you that donation. So I call that a party in a box. And so if I can't physically be there to throw it, I just help you get there and plan it for you. And then we have so many other fun little initiatives that we do. We have our battle plan journals, which are interactive journals for kids in active treatment. So this is a journal for kids to really just communicate how they feel. And when you get that diagnosis, you have that notebook. It's day 1. You're going to write down everything the doctor says, the nurse says, every medicine. Well, I took all that information and I put it into a journal for kids. And so this journal, moms and dads can write and chart in it, but then also the kid can, point to the pain on their body. Gives a thumbs up, gives a thumbs down. How are you feeling? We have kiddos who are in trach tubes or can't talk, and they use our journals to communicate with their parents. And so we have our battle plan journals, and then we also have our grief journals that we hand out to siblings after they've had a sibling pass away. And this kind of helps them work through what they're thinking and feeling and communicating in a roundabout way. So that helps them feel safe and feel that their feelings are secure. And then our newest edition, what we have is called Princess Marigold and the Royal Tea Party. So it's our newest debut children's book that we published a few months ago. And Princess Marigold is almost like the mascot of Leah's kids. She's my favorite person ever. She's a princess that fought childhood cancer, and now she's on a life mission to bring joyful smiles to kids all over the U.S. that are going through cancer or any type of diagnosis or life event. And she has her best friend, her sidekick, Peppermint the pig, and they plan parties and they show kids that, even with a diagnosis, you are still strong and you're still so brave and you're still so important. And this is how we're going to fight. And Princess Marigold fights alongside of these kiddos. And she brings this message of hope. She brings this message of goodness and love and encouragement to fighters, siblings, mom and dads, to really encourage them, to walk alongside of them. And a lot of kids always ask me, like, did I do something wrong? Is that's why I'm sick? Is God mad at me? Or parents are like, oh, is it karma? Is that why? Like, why does my child have cancer? And so I wanted to answer that question, why? And really there is no perfect answer. So I created the one thing that kids can relate to. And that is Disney. That's a cartoon. That's video games. That's princesses. So I created this character who had something happen to her, and she had that bad illness. She had those cells inside of her body that reacted, but she is still so important. She's still a princess. She's still part of the royal family. She's still so good. And so we kind of try to answer that question of why that these young little warriors are asking through a princess. And so she's been able, she comes to life in storybooks. She comes to life on video cameras with kids. She comes to events. She travels. Princess Marigold is a real character. She's also an animated character. So we've had lots of fun with Princess Marigold, and seeing her impact that she has really been able to spread and sprinkle into so many kids has been so beautiful. And what a blessing that we've been able to see so many kids blossom through understanding the background of Princess Marigold and the background of, navigating cancer when you're 4 years old.
That it's incredible. And speaking of that, real quick, I have to first of all thank you for the connection to doing your book, and now my wife and I are now part of the Bellasteri family, and we will have our children's book will be released in August, and it's something that has been kind of one of those things in the back of your mind for so long, and that it finally became to fruition through this year, and we're so excited to be able to do that too. I can't, to be able to connect on a whole different level with the kids and make them feel, so just I don't know how to explain it, but we're so excited to be able to do it, and working with Estella Patrick, who is illustrating the book right now. We're so every now and again we get text messages with pictures and how it's coming along, and it's just like Christmas. So we're excited. Yeah,
I love that.
it is incredible. It's not like for us with the book, and I'm sure with you, it's not about the money made from the book. It's about the impact you can make from it. And there's already in the back of our mind, it started from one, and now it's like, okay, now we got to make it a series. Now we got to make it a coloring book, and we got to do all this stuff. And it's just how much more can we put on our plate? I don't know, but whatever it is, it's not anywhere near what these kids have on their plate, and we're willing to go through it if we can just make them smile. The goal is to make one person smile every day, or one person, take their mind off of what's going on for one day and realize it's not so bad. So that's incredible, and I'm glad. I was excited to be able to do it, and to reach out and get your guidance. So we appreciate that so much.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited for y'all. I know that this has been a project you guys have been dreaming about. So when we were chatting about it, I was like, I am just so excited for them. I think, the journey of publishing a children's book is unique in itself, but it's also just such a rewarding one. Because I think you said it perfectly. It doesn't matter how much you make on it. It really just matters that smile that you see on that kid's face, and kind of giving them an inside look, because there's not many cancer books. And so getting that in the hands of kids and siblings and kind of giving them another perspective is just so powerful. So I'm so excited for you guys. I can't wait when it comes out. I can't wait to get one. So I'm definitely, I am staying up to date on social media to see that release date. And Bellasteri, they are an amazing company, so highly recommend them.
Absolutely. They were so responsive. Dana Sue was so responsive, and we spoke on the phone with her, I think, for close to an hour, just kind of getting all the details of everything worked out, and it was she just made it very easy for us. I think you go into it scary with contracts and illustrations and all this kind of stuff, and she made it very easy. So we're excited. I'm excited to be able to put that out. We were hoping that it would happen before our event in August, or even before CureFest. Is something that we can reveal at that time. So we're pumped at this point.
Yay! Yeah, it seems like it, because your gala is the 17th of August.
Yep.
And so yeah, you'll be right there. That's awesome.
Yeah, we're excited about it. We've been up and down with with CureFest, and part of the decision or about having a table at CureFest, because when you get there, you always seem to be sitting behind the table. You don't have a chance to move around and really meet everybody. So we're up in the air. We've reserved the table, but we're not sure. And if we have the book, we'll probably have the table, because that way it's something that we can display and be really just excited about. And so we're ready. We're ready for that.
I love that.
But yeah, it's the one thing I think that, to go back to the beginning, is something that I'm always envious of when I see other organizations or and obviously location makes a difference and community makes a difference. Mm-hmm. But how do you go about your fundraising efforts for what you do? And, is a lot of that community related? Do you find a lot of businesses that want to get involved or that reach out to you, or is this a lot of just pounding the pavement and knocking on doors and putting a smile on your face and getting them to say, I'll do it?
Right. So definitely it's a little bit of everything, I will say. So with Leah's Kids, with me starting so young, with it, I didn't have those business connections. I wasn't full throttle. You know, I was in high school, I was in college, I wasn't in that business world. I also started Leah's Kids in Ohio, and then I relocated it to Texas. So we had to restart 2-3 years ago completely from ground zero. You know, we had our base, but you know, thriving inside of a community, we had to restart. And so at that point, I was freshman, sophomore in college. And so we kind of just hit the ground running. I was in a new city, new state, knew nobody. Really, I call it the rebirth of Leah's Kids. And because I was in high school and then I graduated high school and then I spent 2 years working with another nonprofit in Syracuse, New York. And so I got a lot of boots on the ground training with them. I was in their missionary program. So I got to do a lot of different things with them and take what I learned, kind of put Leah's Kids on pause so I could learn and grow about it, and then move to Texas, rebirth Leah's Kids basically, and really just dove into the community. I remember I called the chamber and I was like, I'm interested. I don't know what this means, but I'm interested. And she was like, okay, here's all the information. Come to this event. And I remember I took my dad with me and we went to an event, and that just kind of started opening the doors left and right. I kind of realized that I had to prove almost Leah's Kids in a way. I had to show that, you know, like I was trustworthy. Not that I don't come off trustworthy, but you know, at the end of the day, I was a young college kid asking for money for kids. And so it turned into storytelling. It really turned into me being consistent and working with the community and diving head in and just storytelling and being like, this is the story of Jane Doe. This is what she needs. Who can rally with me? Who can partner with me? Who can help me? And so we slowly just grew through the community and those community sponsors, those community business partners. And it definitely has paid off in the end, in the long run. It's fundraising is still a journey. It is still something that, you know, we try every which way all the time, and we're always doing new projects and, you know, figuring out, okay, do you send a quarterly letter with an envelope in it to get the money back? You know, what works for you. But really for me, it's just been those one-to-one relationships. I've always said I love taking people out to breakfast, lunch, dinner, and coffee and meet with these people one-on-one, because for me, that's where I feel like my heart is, you know, maybe it's not the big galas or not the 5Ks or, you know, the pickleball tournaments, which we love all those things and, you know, hope to do those things too. But for where I was in college, that is what worked best for me, was, you know, meeting with those people. And so it was such a funny journey because I commuted to and from school. And so I would, you know, go to chamber meetings in the morning, or I would meet with a donor in the morning. And then I would go to class. I would go to like English 102 or whatever. And then I'd be in a full blazer set and then like run back to another meeting. And so it's really just finding that balance and finding what works for the community of where you're at. But I will say I don't think there's a one shop answer, and I wouldn't say just do one thing. For me, we do everything, and we do a little bit of everything. And then when we find something that works, then I'll broaden us in that category, and I'll be like, okay, we are seeing the most profit. We're seeing the most aid and help and assistance in XYZ. So we are going to spend this next year really diving into it. And, you know, sometimes I have fundraising ideas and they go nowhere. And I'm like, alrighty, we're going to chalk that one up and put it on the shelf. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, okay, that kind of works. So let's change it, but let's roll with it. And I think it's just growing those relationships with people. It's storytelling and relationship telling, you know, building. I don't know if that answers your question, but for me, that's what I've seen that's helped.
Yeah, no, I think it's such a wide range of what works and what doesn't. And for us, you know, it's been a lot of letters sent, a lot of emails, you know, the online forms, which I hate. I don't like doing the online stuff. I would rather meet with people in person, because to put a face to what your organization is, and, you know, real live conversation is so much better than an email that I'm pretty sure is going to a junk box that maybe gets checked once a month. So that in-person stuff is better in my opinion, and I wish that we could do more of it. And that's something that has really kind of been the rebrand of what we're trying to do, is to do more of, you know, we're looking for this. We'd love to meet and talk more, not would you just want to donate, or do you want to sponsor? And now, we've even changed the simple wording of, we want you to partner with us. We want you to be a partner, not a sponsor, but a partner with us that can move forward in making a difference. And honestly, it's up and down. And we've done some kind of fundraising event every month so far this year, and some have been not great. Some are kind of iffy, and some are getting better. And we hope that they will grow into something in coming years that will help us continue to fund what we're doing every single day. But we do run into one community issue, and I don't know if you've felt this before, but obviously what you do doesn't just stick locally to what you do. It goes out. You meet people that are outside of where you are right now in Texas, and that kind of thing. And so what I've been saying lately, or my comeback, is that we're not local. We are a global organization. Whether we sit here in Wisconsin or wherever, we are a global organization. And one of the kickbacks is we can't donate because your money's not staying right here in the community. But I look at it like, no, of course it's not. It's going all over the place. I could absolutely run this organization in Wisconsin and spend the same amount of money, because there's so many children that are affected right here in our backyard. That information that we got from Make-A-Wish at one time was that there are so many kids that you just don't even know, and that's crazy. But we are a global organization, and I don't know if you have heard that. I don't want to call it an excuse, but it's definitely one that it kind of rubs me the wrong way, or our giving priorities don't align with your mission, which I'm still trying to figure that part out. But
yes, yes, I've heard both of those before, from other foundations and stuff like that. I think, at the end of the day, some people want to be involved in the pediatric cancer world. Some people don't. And it's kind of like, okay. And when I run into that, it's kind of just like, okay, you just have to respect where that line is. Some people, I think, I'm not saying all, but sometimes I feel that maybe it's hard to look at. It's hard to think about. It's easier to give to somewhere else where you're not going to go home and think about it. Because cancer it's a heavy mission. And it's, especially if these business owners have a kid, and you just presented a 4-year-old with leukemia, they go home and their daughter's 4 years old. And now they're thinking, oh my goodness, could my kid be next? And sometimes it's hard. And so that's sometimes where businesses kind of just like, we support, but we also, it hurts to support because of the emotional ties that cancer has. And I might be completely wrong. Sometimes that's what I tell myself, because I'm like, it is hard. It's a hard mission to hear these stories. And it takes a person to really want to dive into that with you. But I think every business kind of navigates on its own. And some businesses I love that I've learned, their owner of the company may have a huge passion to Alzheimer's. And so all their work for charity and donations is all Alzheimer's geared. And, they may not be upfront and open about that, but I've also learned that, okay, let's look at the stories of the people that are running these companies, because they too have stories. They may not have a charity, but they also have a story. And so it's almost finding that business that has that connection with cancer. And I think that has been something that has helped us a lot. Is, sometimes some businesses have their uncle or their niece or their nephew or their mom just passed away from cancer, and they're like, I can't imagine a kid going through it, so I want to give because I saw my mom and she was an adult, and I can't imagine watching a 7-year-old go through it. And so that's something that I've also learned is they might have a connection, and so finding that connection, which a lot of times you can't really find it unless someone else tells you, so that can be hard. But sometimes you would be amazed that, well, not really, because you and I are in the trenches of this world, but 9 out of 10 people have a connection. Yes, they have a connection, whether it's an adult or a child.
Yep. No, that's absolutely, they do. And it's and sometimes it comes out more so as you're getting through the conversations, and you can find out, I just found out that, one of the representatives that I've been working with in Congress, his father was going through cancer treatments, and I just found out today that he also has a type of cancer. This is something that and he has children that went to, our daughter's school, and it's a small world. It really is. And the connection is so close. It really, I mean, that 10th person is still standing right next to number 9, and they may have it and they may not know it. But there's that connection is very deep, and there's, and I really don't fault any of the companies for not wanting to be involved, whether it's having your name on it or things like that. But I also look at it like, again, if you shut your eyes and turn your back, then it doesn't exist. And I think a lot of people treat pediatric cancer like that because, unfortunately, with it being listed as rare, which I have a lot of words for that, and I say them loudly and proudly on every social media because it's a horrible way to put it. And the percentage, whether it's 4, 8, or 10, going to research is horrible. But we're almost force fed the idea that, well, it's not so bad. It's not a bad thing. There's not a lot of kids that get it. It's not that big of a deal. So why are we focusing so much attention on it? Why do you need so much funding for it? It gets, X amount of dollars every single year. It's because I'm sitting here now without my daughter here. That's why. And you went through, hell on earth. You came out and you're a happy, smiling person that's spreading, love and cheer to these children. But you went through something that you shouldn't have had to go through. You should have just been being a kid and worrying about, who you're going to play with on the playground, or, who you're going to swap lunches with. You shouldn't have to worry about these types of things at such a young age. And you grow up so fast. And I think, as our daughter and you and everybody going through this, they don't get the respect that they deserve for how much you understand and how much you truly understand the names. These kids at 5, 6, 7 years old can name off every drug they're on, can name off every treatment, know what day it is and it's treatment day and we're going to the hospital. Our daughter at 7 years old, she would flush reports by herself. You know what I mean? These kids could access themselves if they needed to, and it's incredible. And I almost say that you would be, a blessed person to be able to meet one of these children, just one, and just have them be part of your life. Just let them tell you their story. Just let them smile at you, and it will change your life forever because of the amount of love and support that they can give to somebody and not worry about themselves. And it's unbelievable.
I think that's very well said, very beautifully said, that, these kids do know, they know more than we think. I know, I was potty trained in the hospital. My dad always tells the story about how I learned, to use the restroom properly with my chemo pole in hand. That I climbed out of bed and took my pole and was potty trained right then and there in between the nurses coming in and out. And I think you're right that there's kids who, all of us, they all grow up quickly, and the siblings do too, and the mom and dads, their life has changed, and it is heartbreaking. And I'm ready for cancer to be gone. I'm ready for kids to have their childhood back, and I know that's a wish you have too, and I hope we can live to see the day that happens, and I pray for that to happen. But for right now, I think we keep fighting, we keep being in the trenches, and we keep honoring all those angels, keep honoring your beautiful daughter like you do so wonderfully. And I just think that you are just speaking truth right now, and I support you.
This is not, I say it all the time, and I think I haven't found anybody that disagrees, but this is definitely not a family or community that you want to be a part of at all. There's no person in the world that wants to, but now being a part of it, I will go scorched earth for anybody in this community at any time, and we'll fight on the front lines as much and as long as I physically can. I will be there until something changes, until there's actual physical change happening, and that we see the communities, we see the government, we see the world decide to see these children for what they are, which is heroes, and have them on the front lines out there, and let them tell their stories, let them be heard and be loud and be represented. And that what you see on a daily basis is not what these kids feel on the inside. They're showing you just the unbelievable I can't even explain the magic that they just exude, and the fact that it's, when our daughter, like I say this, the morning she woke up, hours before she passed, I looked her in the eyes and I said, "Are you okay?" And she shook her head. Yes. She knew what was happening. Within moments, she went into that sleep where you don't wake up. And it was hours before she passed. Her best friend, who passed just August of last year, laying on the couch with family and friends, looked at them and said, "Are you going to be okay when I'm gone?" They only care about the world, about everybody else, not about what they're going through. I wish to hell that we had more of that in the adults that are living today, that could explain that don't worry about what you're going through. There's always somebody going through something, and you just have to treat the world like that. I miss my daughter terribly, and every day we're coming up on almost 3 years now since she passed, and this fight is not getting any easier. If anything, it's getting harder every single day. But I truly hope that with the connections that I'm able to make in this community, the connections that our organization can make, what you're doing, what we're doing, and so many others, that eventually someone's going to wake up and someone's going to be that person that says, "I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to sign these bills. I'm going to sign these laws. I'm going to do what it takes to make sure that these kids get the recognition that they deserve." It's not a Democrat. It's not a Republican. It's not an independent thing. It's nothing, because I don't care about any of that. That stuff means zero to me. I think it's just about a person that cares and wants to do something.
Right. Right. Definitely. Definitely. Cancer doesn't discriminate. It spreads its roots into anything and everywhere. And I think you're doing a beautiful job keeping your daughter's story, her name alive. And I think that's one of the most greatest gifts that we can do, is just really living for them, and how wonderful and amazing for her to look in the eyes of someone else and ask them, "Are you going to be okay?" And I agree with you. I wish us as adults, really anybody, could take a step back and really think about how profound that is, but how to incorporate that into your life. Because again, we're asking these tiny humans, as you know, to fight a battle for big humans on drugs that are created for big humans.
Right.
And then asking people to live life without their souls, basically. And it's gut wrenching, and it's sad, and it's unfair, and it's not rare, and it's hard. And the people that are left behind, that's a whole new journey. I always say there's two journeys to pediatric cancer. It's you're going through it, and then it's the aftermath. It's the aftermath of you versus yourself. It's the aftermath of one person's in heaven and one person's on earth. It's the aftermath of recovering, of grieving, of moving forward, of navigating, of figuring out. The after is almost, whatever side you end up on, is almost as worse as the during, the treatment, the activeness of it. So my heart definitely breaks on the daily seeing so many new faces. It's just not fair. It's so sad.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to see this community grow. That's for sure. And I definitely don't want to see the club that my wife and I are part of to grow. And it's, sitting in these meetings. We go to the caucus meeting every year as well when we're in DC, and and we see it, we hear, well, we've increased the survival rate to 80% of these children that are fighting cancer. But one fun statistic that they like to leave off is a 95% the side effects that they're going to face for the rest of their lives. A lot of, when it comes to girls, a lot of them, secondary cancer of breast cancer is a real thing. And that's just a side effect of these drugs. And, my daughter was losing her hearing, and she was told, "You'll never have kids. And, your kidney function is destroyed." And it's that is a big part of this. Yes, you may survive, but you're going to be battling so much for so many years later on at these little tiny bodies going through this. And I don't like that. That's like, let's tell the good stuff. Let's tell the good statistics. Absolutely, that you're fighting for it, or that you're raising the percentage that's given to them. But we have to tell the bad too. That's part of it. I won't say the name, but it's really easy to figure out. But there's a certain organization that has a commercial that is very prevalent on TV that does not show the bad side of anything. They show a lot of smiling children. They show a lot of happy endings. They show a lot of happy families. It wasn't until this past year that it was the first time I ever saw a commercial that flipped forward 2 years later to tell us that the child had passed away. And while I understand that money's not going to be brought in when you show the bad stuff, I don't believe that that is very fair marketing. This is not a fun world. This is not a fun. This is it's a horrible thing to go through. It is dirty. It is ugly. There are a lot of bad things that happen. Side effects and images that I could share that would bring the strongest men to their knees. And I look at it like, but my 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 40-pound daughter went through it and smiled every day, just smiled and joked and made us laugh. And every day we get up and as adults, we're mad about something. Somebody cuts us off in traffic, right? Somebody does something and what are we upset about? What are we angry about? Everything that these children go through every single day. And it's a different dynamic, and I hope we can make a positive move forward. So I look forward to the positives coming in the future here. I look forward to working together with organizations like yours. And I spoke to Allie the other day from Glimmer of Hope, and I was able to meet Oliver Patch Project, Brian last year at CureFest. There's like so many cool people that you get to come in contact with, and I'm so excited to not only have them on the show to share their story, but just to be part of this big organization that is just not going to take no for an answer.
Right. Amen to that. I definitely think all these charities, all these people, nobody is going to take no. And I think that's evident, especially when we all rally together and we have that mission and we're all linked on that battlefield together, that, so we'll be the voice, we'll be the change, we'll make it, we will do it, and we'll die carrying this cross if that's what we have to do.
All right. So is there any other words of wisdom that you would like to pass along, or if you would like to tell us or tell everybody where they can go to help out Leah's kids or to donate? The floor is yours for that.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, definitely, if your family is in need of any resources from Leah's Kids, just visit our website at leahaskids.org, LEIAKIDS, Leah's Kids. And so Leah spelled like Leia because I'm named after Princess Leia from Star Wars. And so if you know a family that is in need of financial assistance or a dream party or a journal or Princess Marigold visit, definitely all my personal contact information is on the website, my cell phone. You can email me, Leah at Leah's Kids. You can also go to our Instagram, and it's Leah's_kids, or my personal, Leia Hunt _, and send us a message, and we'd love to get resources to you and help you in any way. If you're looking to donate, you can head to our website, or just hear more of these stories of these kids. You can definitely visit us. And if there's anything I can do personally for you and your family, or you and your children's hospital, or whatever that may be, I would love to be assistance. This is my passion. This is my life. These kids, I'm here for you. I'm here for them. So please reach out, and just know that no matter what, you are amazing. And I think at the end of the day, this is something that I tell my kiddos in my classroom and when I work with them. It's like, you're still so strong and you're still so beautiful, and everyone's path is different, and you're amazing no matter what. And sometimes you just got to look in the mirror and tell yourself that you're amazing, and that, you have that hope against everything else in your heart, and just hope. And that, there's people out here that are here for you, that want to help you, that have the resources to help you. So asking for help is not a sign of weakness, it's a sign of strength. And so I encourage you to not be afraid if you need assistance, because people like Leah's Kids, people like Curtis, people like all these other foundations, we want to help you. That's why we're here. So definitely reach out. And thank you so much for having me today. This was so good and so amazing. You're so sweet, and I'm so excited for your book and all that you and your family are doing, and your daughters, and just keeping the light on, and paving a path for so many more people that are coming after you. So just thank you so much for all that you do, for your heart, for your passion, for living your daughter's legacy day in and day out. I know that is a cross that you are carrying, but you carry it beautifully and you carry it selflessly, thinking of her, thinking of your other daughters, your wife, and all those other kids in the fight. And so I just really want to thank you and encourage you for your greatness.
I thank you so much. I appreciate everything that your kind words, and I appreciate everything you're doing. And please go, check her out, leahaskids.org, and do everything you can to help organizations like us. We rely on the community support and the family support to continue to be able to make a massive difference with these children. So I appreciate you so much being here today and taking the time to meet with me. We would love to see you in August, but we'll definitely see you in September.
Yes.
We will be in DC, and we will be out there. And you know what? I think that we're going to go ahead and just make some politicians uncomfortable, because it's the way it has to be until they want to make a change for us. We will be there. We'll be on the Capitol steps. We'll be at Freedom Plaza. We will be there. And just know that if you see a big crowd of people, come over and say hi.
Yes.
Excellent. So thank you so much for being here, and we will end this now. But it was an honor to be able to speak to you, and good luck in everything that you have going now. And I cannot wait to be able to. I need to get a copy of your book, and then I will be sharing a copy of ours when we get it.
Perfect.
I need to get that under control. So we will work that out. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
And you have a great rest of the day, and we will talk to everybody next week.
Bye.
Okay, bye.